Okay, so what kind of situation do we currently have on GBP CHF? Now let's start our analysis from the monthly time frame. Now on the monthly time frame, there are two things that we can immediately see. First of all, this area is very strong demand for this pair. In fact, it preceded this huge rejection to the upside, another huge rejection here, and now again the market has reached the area. And we have the possibility to go for another test, possibly before the continuation to the upside. Why? Because, as I said, there are two things that we can see. We can also see that the market has broken below the most recent structure level, which was this green candle here. In fact, in all this move to the downside, there is one candle which is not related to the move to the downside, which is this green candle. The market broke it to the downside, already respected it with this wick, and now it has rejected it to the downside, and we can expect the last test of this zone before the actual move to the upside starts. Perfect. On the monthly time frame, everything is clear. Let's go down on the weekly and see what kind of situation we have on the weekly. Now on the weekly time frame, two things as well that we can immediately notice. First of all, here we have support, okay? It's clear that we have weekly support at this area. It preceded all this move to the upside, and now we're again testing this low. And we might see the retracement for the creation of this kind of weird head and shoulders. So anyway, to have a leg to the upside in the following weeks. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. And the second option is obviously that the market will break the zone to the downside, create this M formation, which would be the best case scenario, because at that point here we have the very strong monthly support with an M formation going to retest that extremely strong support, and from here we have a huge risk to reward opportunity to the upside. So that would be obviously my I would prefer that kind of scenario, but obviously we must be reactive and not predictive. If we go down on the daily time frame, what we have on the daily time frame, we have a market that created an impulse followed by the correction, completion obviously of this M formation before the continuation to the downside, so the completion of the impulse correction and impulse pattern to the downside, followed by a retracement to retest the previous support to resistance, and now the market is again testing the weekly support that we have already identified, and we still don't know if the market will actually manage to break that zone to the downside or reject to the upside. One thing is for sure, inside of this area there is no good opportunity to be looking neither for a long nor for a short, because we are in one of those zones where is the decision zone for the pair. Therefore we don't have good probabilities or good risk to reward. Now let's go and see what we have from a COT perspective. So what hedge funds are currently doing on the GBP and what they're currently doing on the CHF. Now if we go and see our COT data for the CHF, what we can currently see that we are sitting at 1.6k net positions from the positive 8.9 that we had here. So a clear decrease in the net positions, with thousands of longs getting closed and thousands of shorts getting added. So currently we have a 21.1% short exposure and 25.6% long exposure. If we go and see what we have from a GBP perspective on the other side, we can see that currently we're sitting at minus 15k net positions. So we went from positive 35. So from having way more longs than shorts from an institutional perspective on the GBP to having more shorts than longs, with another 7k shorts close here, 10k shorts close here, and more than 2k longs opened in the same amount of time. So in the long term, a weak pound, but in the short term, a strong pound. In fact, if you remember, the GBP USD M formation completed very well. But if we look at the long term, we still don't see a proper accumulation on the pound. So there is still the possibility to see the drop for the creation of the weekly M formation, as we had previously said, for the move to the upside, which would be the best case scenario. Now, how we will be approaching this situation? Very simply, we must be reactive and not predictive as usual. And we must notice that at the moment the market is bounded inside of this resistance. So we have previous support here, which is now resistance at this area, and the market has already respected it. And this previous support, which is again support here, and the market as well has already respected it. So until the market will remain bounded inside of this area, we will not be looking for any setup on the pair. But as we have already identified earlier, there are two possible options: either a wave to the upside on the weekly for the creation of the right shoulder, or a move to the downside for the creation of the M formation. So at this point, it's very simple how we will be approaching this with students. If the market will break the zone to the upside, we will have the creation of this W formation, and after the retracement to the neckline of the W formation, aka the previous resistance, now turn support, we will be looking on the 4-hour time frame for the market to provide and to create one of our valid entries for a move to the upside. And at that point, we will be taking a nice long with a very good risk to reward and very good probabilities for the move to the upside. On the other side, if the market will break the structure to the downside with an impulse breaking below the structure on the retracement back to the zone, if the market will create the retracement early before the move to the downside will start, then we will be looking for the continuation to the downside, and only then for the M formation on the weekly to complete. On the other side, if from here the market will just melt to the downside aggressively, then at that point the W formation will immediately complete, and the M formation will be already completed on the weekly, and at that point we will just be waiting on the 4 hours for the market to shift from a bearish market to a bullish market. And as soon as the market will shift environment and provide to us one of our valid entries, with students we will be looking for a very good high risk to reward probability scenario to the upside. Now here we spoke about many different options. As usual, we have to wait for the market to confirm which one it wants to show, and I will be keeping you here updated also on TradingView. Now, if you enjoyed this free analysis and education, make sure you drop a like and a comment. It really does support the creation of more free education and analysis for all of you, and I will see you in the next video.